It's 10 o'clock, and I'd like to call the meeting to order. Would you please stand, turn off your cell phones, and stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Diane, would you call the roll?
Commissioner Cora?
Present.
Commissioner Matias?
Present.
Commissioner Mrozinski?
Present.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. The first order of business is election of officers, and with that, I will entertain a motion to nominate someone for president.
Madam Auditor, I nominate Commissioner Matias as the President of the Commission.
Second.
Thank you. And do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have any other nominations? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? I will turn the gavel over to Commissioner Matias.
I can switch seats.
You can? Okay.
You get to go sit down. Okay.
Go ahead. Okay.
So we need to call for Vice President.
What's that?
Call nominations for the Vice President.
Thank you, Madam Auditor. Thank you, my fellow commissioners. Let's continue with the election of officers. Next, we want to consider an election for Vice President of the Commission. Entertain a motion.
Nominate Dr. Cora.
I
Do
second.
we have a second? Thank you. All right, we have a nomination and a second for Dr. Cora for Vice President. All those in favor, are there any other nominations? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're in shape then. Let's move on to consider the agenda for today's date, January 8th.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, we have some additions to the agenda. Number one would be consider commissioners' meeting dates for 2020 year.
Okay.
Number two would be set minimum bids for the commissioner's deed sale. Number three would be approve signature on renewed DCS grant for Juvenile Services Center.
I'll second it.
All right. All those in favor of adding those three items to the agenda signify by saying aye.
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 A motion to approve the agenda
as amended?
Amended.
Yeah,
All right.
I'd second that.
Second that? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. We will add those to the agenda. Diane, make sure I don't forget to include those in the votes. All right. Next on the agenda, we have consideration of the approval of the December 16th, 2019 minutes.
Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. Great. Consideration of claims. Mrs. Winsky?
This week, we have payroll ending December 20th, 2019 in the amount of, excuse me, $1,230,472.73, and also payroll ending January 3rd, 2020 in the amount of $1,176,023.09. And then we have miscellaneous claims in the amount of $1,448,884.72.
Motion to approve claims as presented.
Second.
So before we take the vote, Mrs. Winsky, can you just explain, since we're starting a new year, to the public who may be listening, how we manage the claims, and what does miscellaneous claims mean? Because some people think we just pass a million for without examining what those items
are. All the accounts payable that we get from the last month. We have a schedule, and the department heads bring them to our office, and then they're paid on a timely basis. But before we can pay them, you have to vote on those. Even though they're all budgeted items or appropriated through the council, the commissioners still have to approve them for the checks and balances in government. And those claims are available for anyone in the public, or the three of you, or whoever else wants to see them at any time in my office.
Great.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay.
In addition, the commissioners do get copies of this in advance
Absolutely.
of the meeting. So when we're approving these, we've already spent time reviewing, asking questions, and contacting you if we have any
And then you
concerns.
also have to sign off, and I sign off.
Right. So just wanted to make sure everyone understands that process.
Thank you.
So let's consider the claims. Do we have a motion to approve the claims?
So moved.
Support?
I did second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to consider the claims. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay? Okay. I didn't say nay. I mean, that's how you would say opposed. Next, consider appointment of department heads and professional advisors for the commission.
Madam President, I'd like to read the entire slate, and then if it's okay with both of you, then we can vote this entire slate at once.
Okay.
Yeah. Insurance agencies of record, Michiana Insurance and General Insurance Services, County Financial Advisors, Sender and Company, County Attorney Friedman and Associates, Commissioner's Executive Assistant Diane Gonzalez, Animal Shelter Director Jane Bernard, Community Corrections Director Robert Neary, Assistant Community Corrections Director Sojourner Atwater, Acting County Engineer Jerry J. Sullivan, County Highway Superintendent Mr. Bob Young will continue as the Highway Superintendent till June 30th, and then Mr. Dwayne Warner will take up the role of Highway Superintendent effective July 1st, and Mr. Bob Young has been kind enough to agree to continue through December 31st as an Assistant Superintendent to assure a smooth transition of a department that he has headed for many years and has done an exceptional service. Director of Planning and Regulatory Affairs, Mitchell Bishop. Director, Office of Community and Economic Development, Tony Rodriguez. EMA Director and Planning, Larry Butcher. EMS Director, Andrew McGuire. Information Technology Director, Darlene Hale. E911 Director, Steve Walt. Museum Curator and Director, Kerry Taylor Jakubowski. Parks and Recreation Director, Jeremy Sobecki. Building Commissioner, Anne-Marie Poland. Right to Know Hazmat Director, Jeff Hamilton. Director of Facilities, Larry Lewandowski. Veteran Service Officer, Joe Golek. Inspector of Weights and Measures, Mike Quinn. Madam President, I make a motion to accept this entire slate.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the slate as presented of department heads and professional advisors to LaPorte County. All those in favor of the slate as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? We have adopted everyone in their positions. Congratulations, all of you who are present. And just as an aside, I'm just beginning my second year. So last year was a year where I really got to know a lot of you on a professional basis. And I have to say the county team is a darn professional team, and a lot of dedicated people who go an extra mile. It's been educational, but also really impressive. And I just want to commend you for your work and thank you for your community service. Look forward to a great year ahead. So thank you.
Madam President, I would like to echo the same sentiments. It has been a pleasure working with all of you and the entire team of county staff and employees. And I think you make us all proud, and thank you for all you do.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to considering the board and commission appointments.
Madam President,
Yes.
I'd like to make this motion for the various boards, and we will, if it's okay with both of you, we'll vote all at once.
Okay, thank you.
Board of Trustees, LaPorte County Public Library, David Buell. LaPorte County Alcoholic Beverage Commission, John McDaniel. LaPorte County Animal Control Advisory Commission, Lisa Pelosi. Dr. Patrick Dora and Luann Troxel. LaPorte County Board of Health, Monique Thomas, Dr. Patrick Dora. LaPorte County Drainage Board, Steve Mrozinski, John Coulter, Sarah Hefner. LaPorte County Pioneer Cemetery Commission, Patricia Harris. LaPorte County Plan Commission, Glenn Minich, Harold Parker, John Carr. LaPorte County Redevelopment Commission, Joe Core, Terry Larson, Scott Cooley, and one member to be named by the LaPorte School Board. With that, Madam President, I make a motion to adopt this entire slate.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to support the slate as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you. Moving on, let's consider the commission liaison appointments, please. So this is the commissioners who are appointed to each different department so that the citizens and the departments know who is their point person if issues and concerns arise. So Dr. Cora?
Yeah, Madam President, I'll read the entire list of the liaison positions. County Highway, Commissioner Matias; Regional Bus Authority, Commissioner Mrozinski; County Home, which we do not have, but we are still trying to get the auction done, Commissioner Mrozinski; Plan Commission, Commissioner Mrozinski; Right to Know, Commissioner Matias; NERPC, Commissioner Matias; Animal Control Board, Commissioner Mrozinski; Workforce Development, Commissioner Cora; Redevelopment Commission, Commissioner Cora; Drainage Board, Commissioner Mrozinski; E911 Board, Commissioner Matias; Juvenile Services Board, Commissioner Matias; Solid Waste Management District Board, all three commissioners, Commissioner Mrozinski, Commissioner Matias, and Commissioner Cora; Kankakee River Basin Commissioner, Commissioner Matias; Local Planning Council, Commissioner Cora; LaPorte County Fair Board, Commissioner Mrozinski; LaPorte County Fairgrounds Management and Events Corporation, Commissioner Matias; Community Corrections, Commissioner Cora; and Weights and Measures, Commissioner Matias. Madam President, I make a motion to adopt this entire slate for liaison positions.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor to accept the commission liaison positions as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, great, thank you. All right, moving on, number 11 on the agenda, designation of publication. This is the legal notice for the commission meetings, agendas, and public notice. Do we have a motion to accept this as presented? It indicates that the three local newspapers, the LaPorte Herald-Argus, the Michigan City News-Dispatch, and the Westville Indicator, are the designated newspapers for qualified publications by the commission so that we can publish notices as required by Indiana Code 5-3-1.
I make a motion to adopt that.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the designation of publication for year 2020. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We have passed that. All right, next on the agenda, we have public comment. Just before we start public comment, I want to remind kind of what our rules were from last year will carry over. So we have general public comment early on in the meeting. However, if you wish to speak on a resolution or an ordinance that is being adopted or considered by the commission, you may speak about those items when they are considered on the agenda. So public comment will be heard now, and then again as we go through in future meetings. I don't know that we have any ordinances today. We do not. But in future meetings, should you wish to speak on a resolution or ordinance, the public is invited to speak. So public comment rules. I won't go through the formal rules, but we ask that you be civil, that you be respectful. We're not going to discuss personnel matters here. We, of course, love accolades and departments that have done great work. We love the public to mention those. But this is often a place where people wish to present issues and concerns. While we may not be able to solve those issues here, we will listen, and then we generally will refer that to the department or try to figure out a way offline where we can get details and solve your problem. So at this time, let's open public comment. Anyone from the public who wishes to speak at this time? I didn't mean to discourage you. Anyone from the public who wishes to speak at this time? Anyone from the public who wishes to speak? All right, we'll move on. Public comment is closed. Department head comments. So any department heads who wish to present.
Hi, Darlene Hill, LaPorte County IT.
Good morning.
I just want to give you a quick update. We have started migrating the offices now. We are running into a couple of issues with calendars and contacts. We're asking that, everybody work with us, but it started the process, and, hopefully we will have that email migration done very soon and all the bugs worked out of it.
So could you just, for the public record, give us a quick overview of what you're talking about with migration so that the public knows what they, with Office 365?
So we're moving our email accounts with the county from an on-site Exchange server up to Microsoft Office 365. And we've done testing with some of the larger email boxes to try to work out and head off any of the, problems that they foresee having. And now last night we migrated 3 offices last night. So, we actually have to physically touch everybody that, gets migrated. So we're doing it in stages, and we're hoping to do, 2 or 3 batches a night. Last night we did 1. So, this morning has been very busy. We're trying to touch everybody's mailboxes and make sure their email accounts, everything got migrated. And, then everything will be up and running again, shortly.
Great.
And then at that time, we are going to also incorporate an email address of first initial last name, or, your login. And it's going to be LaPorte County, or LaPorte.in.gov.
LaPorte CO, I think.
LaPorteCO.in.gov, sorry. So at that time, once everybody has migrated, we had gotten rid of all the part-time accounts. We are finding some offices that actually require those, so we're going to have to buy a couple extra licenses to be able to incorporate those also.
Okay, great.
All right.
Thanks. I know that's a big task, but we appreciate it.
Madam President, I have a question. Tell me, will this email system, will it be like a dual authentication where when we log in, there is an authentication that comes to our cell phone and we have to accept it for the email to open?
That we're still working on, because everybody doesn't get mail after hours or on their cell phones. If they don't have a county phone, we can't ask them to, use their personal stuff to authenticate. We have installed Duo on some of ours, and, we are implementing that here, within the county, but again, we have to do it minimal to start with because of, we can't ask the employees to use their personal devices.
Does Duo help increase security?
It does, yes.
Okay.
And also, this morning I read an article where the state, the FireEye system, is now actually pushing out to going to be made available to all 92 counties. It's another firewall, and it goes, at our internet connection sites. So we currently have it, and we have it for all of our election computers, but now the state has offered it to all of our computers. So we'll have an additional protection in place for that too.
And one last question. For those individuals who have county phones, can we implement Duo without any additional cost?
No, we'll have to buy a license for everybody.
For Duo, there's a separate license for Duo. Okay.
Yep. But we are looking into that. We're just trying to find the happy medium on who gets county email on their phones.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks. Any other department heads who wish to speak at this time?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Larry Lewandowski, Director of Facilities. I just want to give you a quick update on the new EMS project that's going on. We're undercover. Everything, the mechanicals are going in at this time. We're hoping to be completed with them within the next week and a half. At that point, we'll start the drywall process. Everything is going right on schedule with it. So I just wanted to give you a quick update with everything.
Thank you very much.
Great commendation on all your hard work getting that project
Thank you.
up and enclosed before hard winter hits. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Bob Young, County Highway. So I want to get you up to date on the accident that we were involved in back on December 2nd, I believe it was, on Highway 20. We had a tandem axle dump truck trying to negotiate a left-hand turn off of 20 onto Wilhelm Road. He was partially into that turn, and a semi, we're led to believe, crossed the yellow line. It was on the oncoming traffic lane and struck our truck. There was a witness on the scene It's been said that he was telling some people at the scene that he saw the truck cross the yellow line and struck our truck, but he left the scene before there was a statement taken from him, so we have no witness. It's in the hands of the insurance now. We've talked, between me and Dwayne, we've talked to 3 or 4 different adjusters from their insurance, our insurance. They're going to allow us, I'm not sure if it's our insurance or theirs at this point. Got a call into our insurance and they haven't returned it back, but they totaled the vehicle. The estimate to fix it was $62,000. It's a 2006 truck, so I suppose it's in pretty good shape. We've spent some money on it. I imagine the age and the mileage of the vehicle is probably what totaled it. So they're allowing us just under $45,000. Minus $1,000 deductible, and we can buy the wrecked truck back for $2,600. There's an $8,000 motor in the truck that's not very old. There's a $8,000 or $9,000 new dump body on the back. The underbody scraper underneath the truck is still in good condition, so there's $20,000 for the parts that we can use. So I think the buyback is a wise decision. We can take the remaining 40-some thousand and apply towards a new truck and use seed-up money to pay off the balance. Can go through Sourcewell, the old NJPA system, and the bidding process and pretty much is all done for you, speeds up the process. There is a truck available for immediate possession at Pyramid Welding in Rolling Prairie, pretty much made to our specs. It was a Trans-Chicago truck sales out of Gary. Built a few of these trucks, and they built them on speculation, hoping to be able to sell them. So there is a truck for immediate possession available to purchase with the remainder of the insurance and seed-up money. So I guess I'm asking for permission to approach the council to proceed on that.
So what would our request for funding be from the council if we have insurance and we have the trade-in money?
Available in the seed-up fund, so they wouldn't have to come up with the money. We just pretty much asking for permission to proceed through the Sourcewell program.
Any thoughts, Mr. Friedman?
Well, I would suggest maybe we defer to your meeting on the 15th so that we can get something back from the carrier. I haven't seen anything from our agent of record yet.
I'm waiting on a call.
So let's, if we can, I mean, it's helpful from an informational so the commission knows, but this way, if there's any action taken, you could potentially take it on the 15th.
All right, so Mr. Young, if you can come back on the 15th with information and work with Mr. Friedman to make sure
I hope to have all the information we need by then.
That's great. Thanks for the information.
You know, one comment I have is at a recent meeting with the council, they would prefer having more specifics before we ask you to go in front of the council. So I think this will help in this week if we can just gather all that information. That way we can present it to the council with more information. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other department heads who wish to speak at this time? All right. We will move on. Before we move on, I just want department heads to hear it from here that you will be scheduled. Those of you who are non-elected officials will be scheduled by Mrs. Gonzalez to come to at least one meeting every 6 months to give just a summary. Some of you have already done this and have done a really great job, and I realize it's not as intimidating as that might sound. You don't need PowerPoints. You don't need a lot of handouts. What we're trying to do is make sure that our citizens, and I've gotten a lot of good feedback about the ones that they have heard. Sheriff Boyd, I always give his as an example. He does this regularly, and but some of you have also done this during the last year, and I think our citizens really enjoy hearing a little bit about a snapshot of what your department does, a special project you're working on. Jeremy Sebecki usually focuses on a grant or a park rehab project he's working on. So Mrs. Gonzalez will be scheduling everyone. If you're an elected official and would like to participate, of course, we think that that's a great opportunity for you to speak to your constituents and make sure our community is informed. So more to come on that. Moving forward to old business, Sheriff Boyd, consider opening of your fuel bids.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
It's my understanding that we received no fuel bids. So I'm here to report that no fuel bids have been received, but would like to rebid this using the same parameters that we previously asked for back in the early December meeting.
Any, was it the holidays or people just got busy or what?
I'm not sure why.
That's interesting. Okay.
Initially, we thought we had several companies that might be interested in it, and when we didn't receive any, we were quite surprised.
Okay. Mr. Friedman, any suggestions?
No, it's just we indicated to the sheriff without receiving anything to come in front of you, seek authority to go ahead and do a rebid. So that's what he's here for today.
All right. So should we have a motion on that?
I make a motion to rebid.
Okay.
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second to rebid the sheriff's fuel bids. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're on our way. All right, under new business, let's get the additions off the agenda first. The first one was consider commissioners' meeting dates for 2020. Diane, you have those meeting dates? All right. They're in the packet.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's printed, and I make a motion to adopt this this schedule.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
Madam President, I'd like to make a mention that the January 15th meeting will be next week, next Wednesday, because we couldn't meet on January 1st because it was a holiday. So we are meeting today, and we'll be meeting again on January 15th, but it'll be a morning meeting at 10 o'clock. I just wanted usually third Wednesday is an evening meeting, but next Wednesday a meeting will be a morning meeting at 10 a.m.
Okay, thank you for mentioning that. All right, moving on, let's work on set the minimum bids for the commissioner's deed sale, and that would be our Mrs. Winsky.
Yes, as you know, we had our tax sale in October, and the leftover properties right now are eligible for a commissioner's sale. So you passed a resolution to have that sale, and now we need to set the minimum bid, minimum opening bid for each category, and I think you have that in front of you.
Madam President, if it's okay with you, I'll quickly read what the minimum bids are, and then I'll make the motion.
Yeah, that's great.
For vacant land up to half acre, $100, half acre to 2 acres, $200, 2 acres to 5 acres, $300, and over 5 acres, $500. Improved lots with a residence, $250, with a structure, $200. Commercial property with buildings, $1,000. I make a motion to adopt this.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minimum bids for the March 12th commissioner's sale. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Let's move on to approve signature on the renewed DCS grant for Juvenile Services Center.
Madam President, I spoke to Erica Stallworth this morning, and this is a renewal of an annual routine grant. It's nothing new, and we just need to sign that, and I make a motion that we go ahead and sign this grant and renew it.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve the signature on the renewal of the DCS grant for the Juvenile Service Center. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Approved. Let's go now to the new business that's on our agenda. Consider the material and hot asphalt concrete bids. Mr. Young?
Okay. First bid received from Walsh and Kelly, timely received on hot asphalt concrete. This contains a base bid, type B binder mix, $46 a ton, and number 11 type B surface mix at $58 a ton. They've also got a series of alternate bids as well that are enclosed, and the again, the bid is timely received. Second is the Clink Group timely received.
That's on the liquid material.
Is it liquid? Okay, thank you. This is strictly the liquid material, 700,000 gallons or less, and a series of categories regarding the 5,000 gallon truckload, less than truckload vendor storage, and county storage for bituminous. Reith Riley, Class 12, hot asphalt concrete, base bid, Type B binder mix per ton, $45.25. Type B surface mix per ton, $51.75, and a series of alternate bids as well contained. And the final bid we're opening is from Asphalt Materials Incorporated.
That's liquid.
Okay. Liquid materials, again, timely received. And a series of different categories, less than 5,000 gallon delivered truckload price as well is itemized appropriately in this particular bid. Madam President, members of the Commission, we'd ask that you show the bids as received and refer them to the department head for recommendation to the Commission.
I make a motion that we to indicate that we have received the bids and we are referring it to Mr. Young for
I think he's next
review.
door if that room's available and anybody wants to review them.
Great.
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second to approve the receipt of the bids and review by our Highway Department and Superintendent. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Next on the agenda is consider renewal of contract with Mr. Tony Rodriguez, Director of the Office of Community Affairs and Economic Development. This is an annual agreement.
Yes, Madam President, the terms have not changed from what was approved previously. Mr. Rodriguez could not be here today, but the basic substantive terms are the same as what were approved this past year.
I make a motion to approve and renew the contract.
Second, but does this have to go before the council then, or not?
No, I mean, it's budgeted. It's budgeted, fortunately.
It's already budgeted.
Yeah.
All right, second then.
Okay. Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve the professional services contract for Mr. Tony Rodriguez in the Office of LaPorte Office of Community Affairs and Economic Development. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Next on the agenda, we have consider granting permission for our planner, Mitch Bishop, to proceed with advertising for paving work bids with the Community Crossing Grant. Mr. Bishop?
Morning. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Yeah, so this is a Community Crossings grant that I received a couple months ago. It's for paving of 17 center line miles between US 12 to the St. Joe County line. The bid spec is completed, so it's just receiving your permission to then advertise. I'm going to advertise for 30 days. I think your second meeting in February, open those bids then for the work.
For public information, would you kind of give an overview of the Community Crossings Grant, what the amount is and what we use the money for?
The amount was $1 million. It's a 50-50 split. So 50 of it was local, and I went to county council for that already, our commitment for that money. Basically, this particular project, it's going to be a 3-inch mill. So there's approximately 30-foot, 20-foot wide of pavement between US 12 and the St. Joe County line. That's all going to be milled down 3 inches. And then it's going to be filled with a 2-inch intermediate of new asphalt and 1.5 inches of new surface. Also included would be new striping, and I believe there's 25 or 26 approaches, county roads that basically intersect. Those that's going to be done, those approaches, and new stop bars will be painted along those intersecting roads. And so that's primarily the scope of the project. Like I say, the bid should go out and be opened second meeting in February. Anticipating work to be started approximately in July, maybe June, and be a new road, big project, 32, like I said, 16 center lane miles, so 32 lane miles. So basically connecting St. Joe County to Michigan City on 12, on a busy road, so should be a good one. And I'll be reapplying. There's a second phase, I believe it'll be due in September 2020, community crossing again, and we're focusing on that time, Phil Road, between 2 and LaPorte up to 1,000 North.
Mr. Bishop, I wanted to ask you, can we, how is there a maximum limit how much we can apply for?
Yeah, so the maximum that we can receive is $1 million. Which
that's the maximum.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So how it works, we anticipate the bids to be somewhere around 2.1, 2.2 million. So we would be responsible for the other million, 1.2 it might be. So that would be local money.
Okay.
Mr. Bishop, thank you for the summary. I also want to thank the entire county team, because I think this is an example of really great collaboration between the county council, the auditor's office, your department, planning, engineering, highway department. It's my fellow commissioners, everyone working together to make sure that we were able to, budget the match and all of your tedious paperwork really carried the day. And $1 million to LaPorte County of funding is a terrific advance for us. So thank you so much.
Madam President, I make a motion to grant permission to Mr. Bishop to proceed with advertising for paving.
We have a motion and a second on the floor to consider granting permission to the planner to proceed with advertising. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And next on the agenda, we have commissioners' comments. Mr. Mrozinski?
I think we've accomplished a lot in the last year, in fact, the last 3 years, actually, and there's still a whole lot to do. There's a whole lot of things that go on that the commissioners take care of that doesn't get brought out in the public, behind the scenes, you might say, and we've all worked together, though, to do what's best for the county, and plan to continue doing that this year, and hopefully we'll have another good year. And nationally, I know we're in kind of a bind again. The national situation. I see on the news there's a whole lot of attention brought to that the United States takes out one terrorist. They didn't mention anything about the American soldiers that we lost. Their lives are just as important as that guy to me. And pray for our troops, because we could be in a sticky situation here. And a lot of Americans putting their lives on the line for every one of us. So, thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Cora?
Thanks, Madam President. I want to echo Commissioner Mrozinski's statement about praying for our troops and for their safety. And regarding locally, I appreciate working with both of you. And this year, as we get into the new year, we want to continue to work on our infrastructure development, both physical infrastructure, digital infrastructure, and continue to work with our economic development team, and also focus on our TIP districts through our redevelopment commission. We've been working on this KIP for a while. Hopefully this year we'll make some progress in getting that switch done and getting the money from the state. So that's a work in progress, and we'll continue to do that. And then we'll continue, as Madam President, with your initiative about broadband and improving the website. Hopefully those all will be launched this year. So we're looking forward to that. And we have created an environment of cooperation, and we would like to continue to work with our other local governmental agencies like the cities and all too, so that we can all work together and do whatever we can to make LaPorte County a place to live, a place where people want to move, start business, and raise their families. So that's our goal. with that, I'll conclude my comments.
Thank you, Dr. Cora. That's well said. So a couple of reminders. The RAVE is our local system for emergency announcements. Please make sure if you have not signed up for RAVE, you can go to our website and sign up. As we head into the bulk of winter, we've had a light winter so far, only one really heavy snow, but the RAVE system will send an alert to your phone if we're having an accident on a highway, if there's a snowstorm coming, those kinds of things. Our employees will know if our buildings are closed, so make sure that you have signed up for RAVE. It's for every citizen as well as county employees. A quick update on the website. We do have a beta website that's being reviewed. Some of you who know me well, former English teacher, I confess, my red pen still twitches. I don't want it to go live until it's as perfect. I'm sure our citizens will find things that aren't quite perfect, but we're really trying to make sure that the website, while it may still be added to over time so it becomes as robust as we can have it, we want to make sure that there's that it's as foolproof as possible. So it's under review. The super user group is working on making sure that the content is not only accurate but well presented. So please be patient with us. That is coming along. Around economic development, I appreciate my fellow commissioners speaking about that. Economic development is tricky because you hear about it and you wonder about it, but you aren't really, most public folks aren't in the loop because you can't be. And the truth of the matter is economic development has to be done, it's usually with private money, and so those folks really don't want to come up in front of the microphone and talk about their projects until the projects are signed off, sealed, and delivered. So while you kind of have to take our word for it, I can assure you, as Dr. Cora and Commissioner Mrzinski have done, that economic development is a key focus of our work together as a county team, and we are focusing in particular on the KIP project property, so that we are hoping that we will have some projects to talk to you about later in the year. There are also some other really exciting economic development projects that are being worked on, and more to come on that in 2020. Again, wanted to make sure that you remember that we are focused on transparency and civility in our work together, and so appreciate all of the collaboration and cooperation amongst all of you. We have two new mayors, and I think it's a really exciting time for LaPorte County because both of the mayors are really collaborators and community cheerleaders. So I'm hoping that we can come up with a plan to perhaps build some sort of quarterly meetings in where we can meet with the mayors, the commissioners, and we can begin to talk about joint projects. It's really in everyone's best interest. When citizens drive through LaPorte County, they really don't care which jurisdiction they're in. They presume that we're all working together, so we want to make that happen. And then I want to thank my fellow commissioners for electing me today, and I hope to work closely with you as we make 2020 the best year yet. Thank you, everyone. And with that, the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you. Motion to adjourn.